Bandwidth for First Updates Now is supported by AndyMark. Are you competition ready? Go to andymark.com and keep your team inspired. And by the Blue Alliance. Keep up to date on all live and archived First Robotics events and team stats at thebluealliance.com. First Updates Now is brought to you by viewers like you. Fun relies on the generous support of our fans in order to continue to keep creating content. Please consider donating, giving bits, or subscribing. Subscribe for a few bucks a month or for free through Twitch Prime. And don't forget that our subscribers get 5x chance to win on all giveaways.
Hey everybody, and welcome to Let's Draw Robots. This is our time to take a step back and relax and calm your stresses of the crazy competition season and talk to some people from the FRC community. I'm your host, Christina Tia from the Neutrons, Team 125, and Wordplay All Day. On today's episode, we're going to be celebrating Women's History Month, which I think is pretty much every month of the year. But we have two badass women in STEM with us tonight from the Robo Wranglers. We have Madison and Adrian. So welcome, guys. Thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for having us, Christine.
Anytime. So tonight we're going to be coloring through some awesome topics. We have the wonderful Mae Jemison on our coloring sheet. She is awesome. And apparently Adrian has heard her speak in person before. So would love to hear about that later. It's pretty badass. And then we have some of our favorite 148 robots. We have this year's Uppercut and badass little Bolt down in the corner and some awesome little vault symbols from this year's game. So our producer, Tyler, has the URL in chat, so you can download it right now. You could color along on MS Paint, whatever you want, or you can print it and color along with us. We also have two giveaways for tonight's show. We're going to be giving away a Mae Jemison sticker from my Etsy shop and a Grace Hopper sticker. So stick around and enter the key phrase in the chat later on, and those could be yours. And speaking of subscribing and winning things, did you know that subscriptions, including your free Twitch Prime subscription, goes directly to help support First Updates Now? Even if you're not watching live, and if you don't mind buying us the price of a cup of coffee each month, click the subscribe or donate button. I always screw that up every time. I'm so sorry, Tyler. All right, so moving on to Adrian and Madison. We're excited to have you on tonight, and we'd love to hear about what kind of got you guys to join the team. Adrian, we know that you're an awesome teacher at the high school that 148 is associated with, and Madison, you are a senior this year, correct?
Yes.
Awesome. So do you guys want to go ahead and talk about kind of what led you to joining 148?
Sure, Madison, you want to go first?
Sure. So my sister joined Team 148 when she was a sophomore in high school, and that was in 2008, so I was only 8 years old. And I started going to first competitions. And then a year later, my dad actually became a teacher at GHS, and he started coaching Team 148. So then it was just like in my family, and I kept going to competitions. And then freshman year, I joined.
That's awesome. So you were like a mini super fan for a really long time, and now it's like actually happening.
Yes.
It's great because we have all these like little pictures of mini Madison from like back in the day and like little tiny Robo Wrangler shirts. And now she's going to graduate this year.
Oh, man. That's awesome.
So my 148 story is a little more complicated. A lot of people actually know me from the FRC community up from where you are, Christine.
Yeah.
I was a student on 191 way back in the 2002. And so I went to high school. My best friend at the time said, hey, you should join the robotics team because we have to go to Disney World. And I was like, yep, that sounds good to me. So when I started on 191, though, we had, like every first team, right, we had the best mentors ever. I still keep in contact with my mentors from up there. So they got me really involved. I did everything I could on the team for 3 years. Went to Clarkson on a first scholarship, was on 229 for 4 years. And then I was looking for a new job in 2009. I went to college with John V. Noon. Some of you may have heard of him before. He was actually on 148, and the teacher had quit. And the principal of our school, who's still the principal of our school, asked him if he knew anybody that could teach math that wanted to coach the robotics team. And I had a math degree from Clarkson. So I said, oh man, that sounds pretty cool. And I moved down here like a month later. That was in 2009, and I've been here ever since. So I'm celebrating my 9th year on the Robo Wranglers, which I think is lucky. So we'll see.
I would say so. You guys had an awesome showing in Dallas, so perhaps that can be attributed to your lucky 9th year.
Maybe.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's funny that Madison, like your story is, you know, my older sister's on the team, because that's exactly kind of what happened. Like in my family, it was like my grandfather was on the team, and then my older sister was on the team, and I had to like watch for a long time, and then I was on the team, and my little sister joined later on. So that's pretty awesome. And I feel like it's such a good experience when you have like that background of being like the mini super fan, and you know, watching your siblings go through it, and then you finally get to do it. So that must be really rewarding for your parents too.
Definitely.
It was so fun to like watch her too when she was little and cheering us on, and then to finally it felt like it was meant to be when she finally was on the team, and she's been a driving force behind our mechanical sub team ever since she joined. So
that's fantastic. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I obviously, like, this is my first time talking to Madison, but I've heard a lot about, you know, how you've been such a huge influence as a student on the team and such a big leader. So it's really awesome to have you on. So
thanks for having me.
So what is your kind of role on the team? Like, I'm assuming it's jack of all trades and like master of all of them.
And so I'm part of the design team, and I help lead the mechanical team, and then I'm pit boss at competitions, and I present chairmans. I do a lot.
What's your favorite aspect of the team?
I definitely like to design stuff and see it work on the robot and get a sense of accomplishment once you get to put something together that you designed on the computer.
That's really sweet. So with your design experience, so after last season, you guys did a lot of iterating throughout the season with your robot, and it kind of led to this really awesome teeny tiny bot that Nick described as like he was like, oh, we have a shop dog now. Its name is Bolt, and it zips around.
Yes.
So do you want to talk about what led you guys to the design of Bolt and what that experience was like in the off season? Because it came out incredible. Like, I had the best time just drawing it and looking at it, but seeing it actually on the field at the off season events was mind blowing. Like, so fast, so awesome.
So Bolt was something that I actually wanted to do. Myself and one other student, we wanted to just like polish our design skills before the build season actually started this year. So we just met together over the summer, and we just went through the drivetrain design, and we wanted to do something different for the drivetrain versus what 148 normally does. So we did a parallel plate construction with belt and pulleys with dead axles. And then we used the Mark 9 intake from our 2017 robot, and we just did a basic hanger like the one that we had on Rogue, and just put it together. We geared it really fast and made it really light so that it was a fast gear running robot.
It's definitely one of the fastest ones out there. What was like the timeline on that? How long did like the design, fabrication, and then, you know, implementation process take?
We started like late July, I think, and then we finished it the end of September and started building it for our off season in November.
That's a lot of fun. And then moving on to this season, so after kind of going through last year and then your, you know, design of Bolt in the off season, how did that kind of set you guys up for obviously massive success so far this season with Uppercut?
So this season, I've been the full designer of the intake on Uppercut. So because of what I learned with Bolt and polishing my design skills, I've been able to take the lead on the intake and do it pretty much all the design by myself, and lead some other mentors on the team through the construction of all of the intakes. And we're currently on Mark 7, so been through 7 intakes. We're seeing what the number will be, the winning number this year.
We set the line at 11.5, and we actually had a vote in Slack of the over-under. I voted over.
I voted over.
So that's you know, how important I guess we think the intake is this year. So we want to make sure that we keep going throughout the season, making sure it's the best it can be.
Yeah, definitely. So now that, you've gone through the whole design process, you've gone through the Dallas Regional, what are some of the things that you are kind of most excited to see, like working on the field that you designed? Because I feel like it's totally one thing when you're on your practice field, whether it's a full practice field or partial practice field. But when you get all of those robots on the field this year, it's so limiting in space. And I feel like there's a lot more going on than any practice field could kind of prepare you for. So what are some of the things that you're really excited to see the robot kind of do on the field? And what are some of the things that you saw that you were surprised by?
It's really exciting when we get the double hang with our alliance partners. Seeing the robot wrangler work after a lot of work and a lot of trials in the shop of it maybe not working, to see it work on the field is really great.
Yeah, that it's so, I wish that we had I was more put together. We're still, as Christine put it before the show, like we're all still like on energy level like 1 or 2 after competing this weekend. But I wish I had time to compile like some video or some pictures, because that mechanism literally started. We like have a staircase in our shop. We like built up a wood frame on the staircase and went, Madison's dad, she was talking about earlier, George, he teaches auto tech here. And he literally went to his shop and got a truck winch, and we attached it to these like wooden boards that we attached to our staircase. And that was like 5 weeks of prototyping of the robot. It was, and it was like every single time we tried something, it was like, oh, that didn't work. Oh, that didn't work.
So Brandon Doty, he finally came into the shop one night, and we were like, Brandon, what do you have? And he was like, oh, it's this hanging mechanism. He said, it's the best bad idea I have, so we're going to try it.
Yep.
Oh.
It's been, it's just like you said earlier, it's like you do these things and you work so hard on them, and you like think they might work, and you try them in your shop and they kind of work, and you're not really sure what's going to happen on the actual field. So, oh my gosh, the first time I saw that, I know that me and everybody else in the stands, I don't even think we cheered. I think we just let out this like huge sigh of relief. It was like, oh my goodness, I can't believe this actually happened.
And so we brought a new revision of the Wrangler to Dallas to put on the robot. And we hadn't actually tested it until it went out on the field to see if it was going to work or not. So.
Yeah, that was a little scary.
Oh, man. Were teams like really apprehensive about letting you use it on their robot, or were they like super pumped, like, oh yeah, like wrangle my robot, if it drops, whatever, like I'm so game for it? Or were they kind of skeptical?
They were a bit apprehensive at the start, but once they saw it working, they were more excited to have us hang with them.
Yeah, we had to. We're still kind of what's the word? We're still kind of getting around the fact. I don't know. I guess we weren't very clear in our release video, but everybody asked us like, so is it gonna hurt my bumpers? We don't grab the bumpers. We don't grab the bumpers. And then, but are you sure it's not gonna hurt my car? We really don't grab the bumpers. There's no bumpers involved. Actually, if it doesn't have bumpers, it'll work better. So that was a little difficult this weekend. I think JVN was gonna write a blog about that. Maybe I just spoiled his thunder. We'll find out. But yeah, I think once people saw it work on the field, they were a little bit more willing to work with us. And we had 0 drops all weekend.
Oh wow!
Yep, 9 different robots and 11 hangs, I think, was the final numbers.
Wow!
So.
That's badass. Nice job.
It was a long time getting there, but we were pretty proud. That was fun.
Nice. I'm excited to see more of it this season, and sadly I won't see it at Champs, but I'll definitely continue to watch it on the webcast. When we were we were at Sonos like practicing on our mini practice field the night that you guys dropped your release video, and all of a sudden one kid like off in the corner was like, oh my god, it's happening, and everybody like ran over, and I was like trying to push through and see what was going on, and I saw the lift and I was like, how does it even work? So it was so cool to see it in person, and I'm looking forward to hopefully like somebody will do a behind the bumpers interview with you guys so we can get a closer look for those of us who won't be at your other events. But
isn't 2 Champs the worst?
Yeah, I mean, I can appreciate that more students are now experiencing, champs. However, I miss everybody that I'm not going to be able to see anymore.
I know. I was talking last year and I was like, there's like a whole group of friends that I see once a year that now I don't see anymore. And I'm so sad.
Yeah. Well, and now like Festival of Champs isn't happening. So even more so like, it's like, oh, nope, JK. But
yeah,
maybe someday in the future, there'll be something that will reunite us all together in one single place like it used to be. But
yeah,
until then, we can reminisce on Disney and Atlanta and St. Louis.
I know.
And all those fun times.
I find myself like having those moments like, oh my gosh, I'm never going to see the Simbot robot this year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, this is what am I going to do?
Yeah. Like 254 just released their robot tonight and I was looking at it and I was like, oh, that's so cool. And then I was like, oh, they're not coming to Detroit. Like,
I know.
Guess I'll watch the webcast and hope it doesn't suck. But
yeah. Oh well.
Anyway,
it is what it is.
So Madison, you said you worked on the intake. I love how it like comes out. It's like chomping. What other students were kind of working on the different subcomponents of the robot? Like, do you want to kind of talk to us about how your subgroups are broken down? Because I know I'm really interested in how other, high level teams like 148 operate on a student lead basis.
Yeah, sure. So we had a few different mechanical sub teams for the robot. We had our drive, the intake, the elevator, the hanging mechanism, and then all of our electronics broken down to that. We pretty much had student leaders on each of those subgroups. Myself being on the intake, we had Casey on the drivetrain, Coleman on the elevator, and Zach and Jess on the electrical programming team.
And Carlos was on the robot Wrangler for most of the year. Yeah. Yes. Also Carlos, as many people know him from Champs last year.
Nice.
Yeah. So they, I think that from a, student perspective, from just like a teamwork perspective, I guess we really have like a main student leader and a main mentor leader on each sub team. And I think that works out pretty well because you kind of have a shared responsibility between the students and the mentors. And we're really proud of our, the relationship that we have, between them. So I think that for the most part works out pretty well. And I think that from a teacher's perspective, Christina and I think bring a pretty good teacher perspective that isn't always present in FIRST, but there is a big teacher present on most teams. And so I think from that perspective, it's really good because, I don't know everything. I wish I did, but I don't. And to be able to have mentors that have skills that I don't have, that my students can really relate to and learn all of this technical knowledge and from that I don't necessarily possess is like, not every kid gets a person that they can relate to in their career in school. And I think that that's so important. That relationship is so important. I know how important it was to me in high school. Like I said, I still talk to some of my mentors that were on the XCATs with me. And so I think being able to create that relationship for so many kids in our school, I think that's the most rewarding part of the team, at least for me.
Yeah, I love that you mentioned that. I think there's always this huge misconception about mentor built versus student built, but the relationship that the students have with mentors, like you were saying, that bring this amazing skill set to the table for them. Like it's taking what they're learning in school and then kind of showing how it's implemented in the real world is something that unfortunately no classroom experience is ever going to be able to provide them. And I'm sure, especially on 148, like having IFI mentors and having such a beautiful workspace is such an enriching environment that not only cultivates like learning, but curiosity to learn more and more and more. So it's pretty incredible to hear that, obviously like you have your mentors that are leading the different subgroups, but you have students that are really driving, the design process, and to hear about how Madison and her friends kind of went back and were really motivated to sharpen their design skills in the off season by building like the most badass gear robot. Like that's pretty incredible. Like that speaks for itself about, how your team dynamic is really motivating students to take what they're learning and, the mentorship that they're getting from their team and do more with it. So, I mean, I feel fortunate that I was on a team that kind of provided me to some extent like that partnership or that person to help me understand like what I wanted to do later in life. But it's definitely different on every team. So I don't know, it's really cool to hear about how you guys have that kind of balance. And I love hearing about how you bring your, the teacher perspective, because I think that's often kind of overlooked. Like, yes, you need lots of incredible engineers, but you also need people to kind of keep it down to earth with the students and make sure that it's a good balance of both things. So
yeah. And Madison does a lot of cool work on the team, but she also has an internship, and I'll let her talk about that a little bit. But I think that is also something that, a lot of people don't know about our team, is that a lot of our kids are actually working in Greenville with engineering internships. So I'll let Madison talk about hers a little more.
Yeah, so I have an internship with Rack Solutions, a division of, excuse me, Innovation First International. And I've been able to work with the engineering department at Rack Solutions and learn kind of their process of a real world company, go through what it's like to create a product from marketing research to manufacturing and actually selling the product now. And I've designed 7 products for the company that are now selling. So
what?
Yeah.
And you haven't even graduated high school.
Yeah. So talk about badass women in STEM. Like Madison is the pinnacle, man.
Madison's going to be my next sticker that goes on my Etsy shop. Like,
you two might be able to be best friends. Madison might be coming up there next year.
Oh, are you?
I'm thinking about coming to WPI. So.
Oh, fun stuff. Well, if you're in the Boston area, we'll have a sweatshirt with your name on the back of it ready for you when you're here. That's fantastic. That's really cool that you've worked with Rack Solutions. Because that's like full circle, the stuff that you're learning on the team and then implementing it there. You must be learning so much too, just about like how engineering companies work. Because I think it's obviously evolving a lot for like newer, younger companies, but it's something that, when our students got to go to Sonos and talk to the mechanical engineers, like they were really shy. And I asked them, like, what do you guys know what a mechanical engineer would do in the whole, like, world of designing speakers? And they were like, oh no. So I'm sure you're getting a lot of like really cool insight on how like engineering is kind of applied within different parts of a company. So
yes, definitely.
That's awesome.
And we have our manufacturing building like right across the street. So I'm able to go over and actually like see the metal being punched, see it being bent and packaged. So it's been a really great opportunity.
That's so cool. I want to go move to Texas and be on your team.
You can come down. I got a guest room. You can come down anytime.
I just don't want to be in New England weather anymore either. So
that was the best part about moving to Texas. Having meetings with the garage door open because it's so warm outside. It like changed my entire FRC experience. It's the best.
Seasonal affective disorder isn't a thing for you anymore during build season.
Although it's been terrible this year. It's been so rainy and so cold the entire build season. And we have a joke on our team that all the magic happens when the garage door is open. And we have not had the garage door open much this season. And then we went to Dallas this weekend and we got back and it's been sunny ever since. And so we're writing our own narrative that we did well at the Dallas Regional. And so then the sun came out in Greenville.
You brought the sunshine. I did see the photo that you posted of like the massive flooding, like on your way to Dallas.
Oh my gosh, it was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. We were like, we literally had to turn our bus around and like go different ways to get places because it was so flooded.
Holy cow.
Yeah, I think I hope Tyler's gonna pull it up. It was absolutely crazy.
That's
here we go. That was our bus. Our bus pulled up to that at the Dallas. We're trying to get to Dallas, and we were like, oh. I told the bus driver, I was like, can you please turn around now?
Yeah.
I'm so sorry that Google Maps led you this way, but please turn around.
It's like that episode of The Office where Dwight's like, no, don't listen to it. And Michael just drives straight into the lake. It's like, no, turn around. Don't follow the GPS here.
Yeah, please don't. Please. Yeah. So yeah, we're I think maybe hopefully the sun is coming out for good now and we can have meetings with the garage door open. That would be the best.
That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Nice. So you guys are headed to Denver week 4 for your next event?
Yes, ma'am.
Nice. So
feels closer than it should.
Yeah, I was looking at my calendar for like upcoming events and stuff. I was like, oh my God, not enough time in the world, but
yeah,
everybody makes it happen.
Yeah.
So moving forward to Denver, like after seeing your robot performance and your team performance this past weekend, like, are you going to be making massive iterations in, true 148 style? Or are you guys going to be kind of just like iterating and updating things and tweaking them as you go?
So, I mean, 148 is constant iteration. So I'm sure there will be changes for Denver, but nothing too major.
Not like last year. I don't know if we can all survive that again.
I know I can't.
I don't know I could either. But it's interesting because the top 4 seeds, 1, 2, 3, and 4 from Dallas, are all going to Denver. So
no way.
Yeah, us 118, 2848, and 3005.
Wow.
We're all going to Denver. So I'm sure that all of us, now that we've seen everybody, each other play, we all have some plans. I know we have some minor adjustments for the robot. We have a few like team org things that we want to change. Some of this, our scouting system, we were really into. It works pretty well, but there's a few minor tweaks we want to make to that. We took some inspiration from 118 as well. Their system was a little bit more, I think, tested than ours, so we want to do some cool stuff. But yeah, I think for the most part it will not be a 2017 Robo Wrangler robot rebuild. I think
enjoy the season a little more this year. Just kind of not rebuild your robot every weekend.
Yeah, and I think it'll be nice. But as always, there are some things we do want to change. So
absolutely.
Yeah. And I'm sure after Zenville there'll be more, but
Yeah, especially it'll be interesting to see how the game evolves, from week to week. I'm interested to see even just, coming up in week 2, how things change from the gameplay. We were lucky in Palmetto, there wasn't much defense and everybody seemed to kind of have a grasp on the game and what they were doing. So hopefully when we go into district next week, maybe the same thing.
Yeah, one of the things that I actually dislike the most about the Friday, Saturday, Sunday event was I normally spend my Sunday like watching other events, and I didn't get to do that this year, and I was trying to like cram it into yesterday and today. But it was interesting how I thought how like gameplay was varying from event to event. Like I saw events where nobody was like going over to the opponent's switch at all, and I was like, golly, we were at the opponent's switch all day in every match. It felt like, and so I'm interested to see how it evolves too, and how things change up, and when we get to Denver, how people are going to have adjusted their strategies, and but I'm excited to be home this weekend to actually watch events. That I think I like watching events better than I like going to events, to be honest.
Well, now that like webcasts are a good thing, how could you not want to watch from your couch, like with your cat and food accessible in your kitchen right there? Yes. So I'm with you on that. So real quick, we're going to kind of move on to our giveaway portion of the show. So again, we're giving away a Mae Jemison and Grace Hopper sticker from my Wordplay All Day Etsy shop. So if you're watching, if you want to enter to win, please type the phrase, all one word, who run the world. That's going to be our giveaway. Exactly. So that's going to be our giveaway phrase for tonight is who run the world, all one word. And don't forget that subs get 5 times the chance to win giveaways. And good luck to everybody. Hopefully Tyler doesn't rig it too much tonight. And if you're watching on a team, don't forget to log on and get into the chat right now. And each person can have a chance to win. So that'll definitely increase your chances. So we have some questions for Madison and Adrian from our viewers. And of course, Caltran is one of them. The first one is Adrian and Madison, opinion on walnut and raisin brownies.
Ugh.
I refuse to try them. So
I did try them because I believe in having opinions that are based on fact, not what I think is going to happen. But they have a weird texture, and I don't even know why raisins are a food. And I don't understand that. I don't like raisins, and I've never heard of anybody going to the store saying like, hey, I really need to pick some raisins today. So, I mean, I didn't spit it out, but I don't think I'd ever eat it again.
But you definitely didn't enjoy it, is what you're saying.
No.
Well, just learned a lot about, your food preferences. So good to know. So next question, Tyler, how do you say this user's name? You say it every time and pick up Hakujin. So the question is, Tyler's thing was blocking it real quick. If you had to be all of any color besides black, what would it be?
Dark gray.
Very, very dark gray.
Gray is my favorite color. I would agree with that. And let's see, I can't read this one. Kindersana is asking how many students and how many mentors are on 148?
This season we have 21 students and
mentors, I don't know. We probably have total maybe like 20 mentors, but they are like, everybody has like varying roles, you know what I mean? So I would say like our core group of mentors is probably around 9 or 10.
Yeah. Nice. And another question from ETLAMC. What's your favorite moment during any competition? That's a good question.
Oh. Man. Okay, I'm gonna go way back. I'll give Madison a time to think. I was a student in 2001, and it was the first year of the Autodesk Inventor Award. And our team decided to, like, after the season was over, to like submit for this award. And me and my best friend at the time were kind of the driving force behind that. And it was only presented at what was nationals back then.
Oh.
And we put together this thing, and it was like a website with all of our CAD, and I had done a lot of CAD on the robot that year, and we ended up winning. And I like that moment, like I still think about that moment when we're like sitting in the Disney parking lot, you know what I mean? And they like announced our team number, and our robot wasn't really that good that year. And it was really just, it was like me, one other student, like 2 mentors that had really done a lot of the work on that submission, and I will just never forget that. I felt so good about myself.
And it wasn't Disney, like the happiest.
And it wasn't Disney. And I got to go like ride rides at Epcot afterwards. It was great.
Oh, that was the best.
Sorry, I need to chime in real quick. Great story. I love Disney. Absolutely hate that 2001 game, though. I don't know what you thought about that. That was my freshman year. That was like the worst experience ever. I can't believe I stayed with First after that.
It was not a great game, but I loved Beatty's robot that year, so I do find the silver lining in that game.
That might be the best robot ever, absolutely.
For sure. What's your favorite?
Well, so I'm in the pit, and I love it when judges come up to our pit and I get to explain the robot, and especially this year, just seeing their reaction when I talk about our hanging mechanism is really fun.
Is it hard to like actually convince them that it works, or do they believe you?
It depends on if they've seen matches or not. If they haven't really seen it, then they're kind of skeptical. But some of them had like been watching and they like knew that it worked. So
nice. All right. So next question is from Caltran again. Is there anything that Madison wanted to do with Bolt that she didn't have time to do?
I don't know. That's a hard question. Maybe just like a different, the way that the drive looked maybe a little bit differently, because we did dead axles, which made it kind of complicated with the way that like the sheet metal was designed. So maybe if we had more time to figure out which way we wanted like the flanges on the sheet metal and interacting with the bumpers, probably.
That's a good answer. All right, and then let's see. Hold on. Tyler's adjusting the font on these questions. Microbuns, that's a great username, wants to know, most people see 148's robot and say, I wish I had built that thing. Have you seen anything this year that you wish you had built or thought of?
Ooh. I'm trying to think, because we were at Dallas, and those are like the only robots that I kind of like really have seen up close so far. I mean, I love 118's arm this year. It's really cool. It's and we, we decided pretty early on we weren't gonna do like a pass up or a pass a cube from one thing to another. So we didn't really even consider anything like that. But I just love how that arm is and all of the linkages and stuff. I mean, I love their robots every year, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I saw a video of like the robot just spinning in place, like moving the arm back and forth. And I was like mesmerized by it. It looked so cool.
Yeah, I like how they don't have to turn around in auto. They can just like pick up another cube and then flip their arm up and it's scored. So.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Incredible. The Overlord 6190 wants to know how you guys pick your drive team.
Ooh, great question. So we have one criteria for driver, and that is leadership ability. We don't actually do any, like stick time for driver tryout. It is just based on if you're a leader on the team and if you have that sort of skill set. Now, that being said, if you're interested in being a driver on 148, we usually know that pretty early on. We ask kids like what they want to do, and we'll give kids a chance to go to like off seasons and drive or drive around in the shop. But we have a lot of experienced drivers on the team, like our mentors. A lot of our mentors were drivers on FRC teams. So we feel pretty confident in our ability to teach anyone how to drive. So we pick based on what, soft skills, leadership ability, calm under pressure, things like that. So our drive team this year, Katie and Coleman is our driver, Katie is our operator, and it's actually our same driver and operator from last year. So I thought they did a fantastic job last year and at Dallas this year.
Can't wait to see what they do later on in the season.
I know we got spring break coming up, so we keep joking that they're going to come into Denver with like thousands of hours of driver practice all day, every day.
I mean, how could you not with a field setup like you guys have at your school? I feel like a lot of our kids would just like park up there and never leave. Like,
I'm pretty sure Coleman would if he could. I won't let him go because I want to go home sometimes.
Well, why? Why would you ever? And can I ask what? You? Yep. And then the unofficial fourth asked, as a mentor, what do you think is the best way to motivate students who have a rough couple of years and are skeptical of their abilities, even though they do have a lot of potential? Also, are there any resources you would suggest for allowing them to build their skills without large amounts of mentor involvement?
Oh, wow. That is a loaded question. From my perspective with the kids, I get to spend a lot of time with the kids, obviously, because I'm here with them every day in school. So as a teacher, I think that I get a unique perspective of being able to really figure out strengths and weaknesses of every kid. Now, as a mentor, that might be a little harder because you don't see them all day, every day. But my big like phrase that I always talk about is setting a kid up for success. So I never want to put a kid in a position that I think that they don't have the skills for, or that I think that they're not ready for. I want to put them in a position where I think that they can succeed. Because if you set a kid up for failure, then they're just going to feel bad about themselves and they don't do a very good job. So I try and really, when we do positions or we do sub team, I really try, if there's a kid that's struggling, I'll try and sit down with them and talk to them about what I see their strengths being and how I see their strengths as being useful in different parts of the team, and try to get them to see that, see how they can be helpful in that part of the team themselves. And I forgot the second part of the question. You're going to have to remind me what it was.
Also, are there any resources you would suggest for allowing them to build their skills without large amounts of mentor involvement?
Sure. I mean, I think that that's different depending on what skill set they're trying to develop, right? So if they are in I know this sounds like a super cliche and cheesy answer, but like the internet is out there, right? And so if they are, really want to be a designer, I try and set them up with all of our like SolidWorks tutorials or get them enrolled in our engineering classes. If they want to work in like website, graphic design, marketing stuff, it's like I try and get them hooked up with resources. In the school, we have all sorts of classes where they can start learning those skills and then be able to use them on the team. And And so I think that it's, it's a hard question to answer because it really is an individual answer. But, I think that for me, it's like you just got to look at what each kid's strengths are and then what they want to do, and then be able to find the resources that are available to them at school or, online or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. And that's really where like the teacher expertise that you have comes in. And really, I feel like as an engineer, you may not have that ability to work with a student and set them up for success, even when they don't feel like they're capable. So
yeah,
I think that's like a really valuable aspect of your team, is having somebody like yourself that really understands like what a first student needs. And then on top of that, being a teacher and understanding, how to kind of further like motivate or kind of lift up students to get them to push forward. So
yeah, I mean, technical knowledge is great. And, we are in this program to build robots, but, we are really trying to develop students that are going to be successful later on. And I think all that stuff that you just talked about is really important for all that. So.
For sure. And one last question from Huntain. He asks, is cheesecake good for the game?
Ooh, loaded question. Yes.
For our game.
Yes. And the reason that I think that is because if you can do anything that is going to help another team or anybody in the competition, team, student, mentor, whatever, if there is a team that has skills to help make another team, improve their game, then I don't think that that's a bad thing. Now, if your team philosophy is that you don't want to, have anything that another team, designed or helped you with on your robot, I think that that's perfectly fine too. But, as a team, I think every team makes their decisions individually. But in general, no, I don't think cheesecake is a bad thing.
Madison, do you have any extra thoughts on that?
I mean, it's great to work with other teams in competitions and just help them with their robot. We want every kid in first to have the same experience that we get on 148.
I would agree. I'm a fan of cheesecaking, but I mean, I think we had a show earlier, like actually it was last year, we talked about consensual cheesecake and stuff. Yeah. So,
yes.
So like forcing it on a team is one thing, but the collaboration, being able to work with teams is really awesome. I think that we're going to see a lot of, cheesecaking of programming this year because, I mean, at Palmetto alone, one of our mentors and some of our students ran around and programmed like 10 different autonomouses in a bunch of different languages for teams because they just didn't have the time or the ability to write autonomous code to just drive forward. So it may not be physical cheesecaking, but
yeah. And so if you're a team and you see your robot driving autonomous versus not driving autonomous, I just don't think that that's a bad thing.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So those are all of our questions tonight. And I think Tyler is going to pick our lucky winner who's going to be getting our 2 stickers.
That's true. Yeah, I am. And the winner of that is going to be Hackogen, who asked a question earlier. So congratulations to Hackogen. Make sure you shoot me a PM on Twitch, or in Discord's fine too, and you can get hold of that giveaway. So he's already. I don't actually know, is Hackogen here or she? I don't remember. I'm sorry, but already responding in chat already. So congratulations,
awesome.
And thanks for being a subscriber.
Yeah, I feel like they're always on, like during all the shows. So
right.
Nice. All right, so that's going to wrap it up for Let's Draw Robots tonight. Thank you to everybody who made this show possible. And a huge thank you to Madison and Adrian for coming on tonight. I know that you guys are probably still exhausted like I am from your event this past weekend, and you have so much to do to get ready for Denver and everything else. So we really appreciate you being on.
Thank you for having us. It was fun.
Thank you.
And is there anything you guys want to plug or let viewers know about before we sign off tonight?
Oh, I don't know. I don't think so. Yeah, I don't know.
Raisins are bad.
Power up. Can't wait to watch more matches.
All right, so if you want more First Robotics in your life and like what we do here, it would be absolutely awesome of you to click that follow or even subscribe button to support Fun and to get some awesome benefits. If you have Amazon Prime, don't forget you can subscribe to Fun for free, or it's just a few bucks a month. So on behalf of myself and our producer, Tyler, I would like to thank you guys for tuning in tonight. And thank you so much again to Madison and Adrian. It was so awesome having you guys on. I'm so sad that I won't see you guys at Champs. But perhaps we'll be at the same off season. Go to IRI this year. Yeah.
You know what? We actually just talked about that the other day. Maybe it'll happen.
Do it.
We shall see. Justin says point people to JVN's blog. Go read JVN's blog. It's great.
Yeah, go read JVN's blog. That's the plug that we'll do.
There you go. There it is.
Go read it. All right, so if you're watching, stay tuned because we have the top 25 coming up, and I am so pumped to see who's in that number one spot tonight, especially after seeing the performance of the Dallas Regional by 148 and 118. So stay tuned tonight, and then after that, we have Fun After Dark, which was a good time last time, so I'm sure it's going to be even better tonight. So we'll see you next time, or we'll see you in a few minutes if you tune into Top 25. Thanks for stopping on, and make sure to post pictures of your drawings if you did it. So thanks, everybody, and good luck to people competing in week 2.
Bye.
Bye.